So I want to jump into a topic that I just touched on very lightly yesterday, and I kind of brought it to Twitter, and it made me want to feel, maybe we could revisit this and talk a little more about it. But before we do that, let's talk about some big news in that we finally know the release date of the next chapter in the War for Cybertron Trilogy Netflix series. So now Transformers War for Cybertron EarthRise will be making its Netflix debut, the next 6 episodes, on December 30th of 2020. So a nice little late Christmas present, early New Year's present for us all, something to keep us busy during the holiday seasons to talk about on the podcast and, of course, in all the forums and on the Discord. Now, that being said, what's interesting about that is that it's exactly 5 months that release date will be from when the Siege release date was in July 30th of 2020. So that begs the question, if this trend continues and 5 months after the debut of EarthRise in May 30th of 2021, will we be able to look forward to the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom Netflix series, Chapter 3, if you will? That would be very interesting. That would be very interesting to see indeed. And judging by the timing of that, we'd be right knee-deep in the middle of probably Wave 2 or even Wave 3 of the Transformers War for Cybertron Kingdom toy line. So by that point, we probably would have already known what the Titan class would be, pretty much the Ark, and whatever the Commander class would be, which would obviously be integrated heavily into that of the TV series. So very interesting, something I just wanted to kind of just put out there. Second thing, what we discussed yesterday, and that I wanted to flesh it out a little more, let's talk about Airazor's packaging and what it possibly could be indicating. Now, I mentioned on Twitter, I was like, I find it very fascinating that the Autobots and the Maximals, they all have the Ark on their packaging. And all of the Decepticons and Predacons and the Decepticon/Predacon fossilizers all have the Nemesis on their packaging, with the exception, of course, time travel characters like Cyclonus, or alternatively, Black Arachnia just has her own unique packaging. But it still has the Nemesis in the background. But what's fascinating is that Airazor, a character that has been historically related to the Maximals, is now sporting the Nemesis in the background of her packaging. Does this indicate that in an alternate continuity, the Predacons find her pod first and make her a Predacon? Very interesting indeed, to say the least. Some people on Twitter even mentioned, like, well, when she was, you know, the Vok, and when she was mixed with the Vok and then became Tigerhawk, it was the Nemesis that killed her, so maybe there's some kind of connection there. Spoiler for anyone who hasn't seen Beast Wars at this point. Some people even say that, you know, maybe it's a connection and kind of a throwback to her old Armada toy, because they took the Transmetal Airazor toy, they gave it a new paint scheme in Armada, and they molded on the back of it, which was totally a mistake, a Decepticon logo on the back. And a lot of people speculated when they first saw this, even though it made no mention of this on the packaging, that she was a double agent, or even that, which was then used in the Dreamwave comics, a Unicronian character, the Knights of Unicron, the 4 Horsemen of the Apocalypse. So there's all kinds of little things that, you know, we're digging deep here and trying to figure out what's going on. One of many things. It's very interesting, to say the least, that packaging is present there. There's even people that were saying online it could be just a complete error, that it was originally intended that Airazor was supposed to be Pterosaur, and they just mocked up Airazor's packaging that was supposed to be for Pterosaur, and ultimately in the end we ended up with the Nemesis in the background. Well, it could be. Could be. Wouldn't be the first time there's been packaging errors with Transformers, with art and stuff like that. We talked not too long ago just about Blue Streak, but I figured we kind of be beyond that point, especially considering how much of an emphasis there is on this high-end packaging for Kingdom, that they would mess up something as simple as the factions and stuff. We'll definitely find out more in the future, but it is something worth discussing because, again, historically a character that is a Maximal, And now we have something here that, considering this whole theme too is all about alternate destinies and alternate timelines, could be a very interesting twist. That the bird lady is now rocking the Decepticon/Predacon emblem, which again goes against their, actually no, maybe not. I was about to say it goes against kind of the creed of how the Maximals versus the Predacons are, where the Predacons are, dinosaurs or reptiles, and the Maximals are all like, fish and or mammals. But considering that, birds in a lot of ways are raptors and are in a lot of ways the next evolution of what dinosaurs are, maybe Airazor belongs with them a lot more than we think. But then what does that say about Silverbolt? Then again, he was also a Predacon at the beginning too. Oh, and they're also insects, the Predacons. Very interesting. Something really now I have to really think deeply about this. I don't know. Jump in. Let me know what you think. I mean, I'm not a zoologist, so if anything I say is incorrect, I apologize. But let me know what you think. Very interesting. Just something that crossed my mind that I guess I garnered to have deeper thought about.